Hi, I'm Julie Marie. I'm in the Protective Diet Test Kitchen, and I'm excited to bring you a new recipe. It's June, and I'm working on my 2013 recipe collection. I got these unbelievably fresh green beans here, and we're going to have them coming in abundance soon. So I want to show you a recipe to cook them up a little different than just steaming them. I'm making spicy Szechuan green beans. So first what we're going to start off doing is, if you haven't cleaned a green bean before, I want you to see how to do this. So what we're doing is just this beautiful little tip on the end, leave that intact. And then we're breaking off the stem. The stem goes in the trash, the nice clean green bean goes in the pot. And we've got to do the whole pot of them. Alright, so we've got the green beans all cleaned off. Next step, you want to rinse them really good, get them clean. So I'm just going to drain these off and set these aside. This is 2 pounds of fresh green beans. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a nice big pot of water to a boil. Put a lid on it so that it comes to a boil faster. We'll save energy that way. Put it on high. I'm going to be cooking up some Oriental style rice noodles. I'm going to turn this around for you to see this. And you could use any noodles you want. You could serve this over brown rice. This is one of my other favorite ways to enjoy it is on short grain brown rice. It's my favorite. But tonight I'm using these, they're called Oriental style rice noodles. So I'm going to bring that water up to boil, and you're going to see that making this sauce for the spicy Szechuan green beans is faster than actually cooking the noodles. So first thing I'm going to start off with is 4 cups of vegetable broth. This is my preferred brand, the Pacific Organic Vegetable Broth. It has no oil or added cane sugar like some of them have. And we're going to do 4 cups. There's 4 cups in a box here, 32 ounces. Just going to add this to a nice pan that's going to fit all of our green beans. The first thing we're doing is making the sauce. And then we're going to add our green beans and some bell peppers to cook inside that sauce. So we're going to also add to that 4 cups of vegetable broth 4 tablespoons of organic tamari. You can buy this gluten-free and a reduced sodium version. And then we're also going to add 4 cloves of fresh garlic. Okay, here's my trusty garlic press. I love this garlic press. It's available on protectivediet.com under products. It's the Xylus garlic press. I've had this majority of my life. It lasts forever. And I'm just going to press out these cloves. Your other option would be to dice them really fine. Some people like to use the garlic that's in a jar that's already chopped up. I think there might be some additives in that to preserve it, and I'm not a fan of that, so I would prefer you would buy the full bulbs of garlic. It's so neatly packed in its own little package, and it lasts a long time. And if you pick up a garlic press, they're I think like between $15 and $18, maybe even less. It'll last you a lifetime. You'll save money on purchasing garlic in how it's grown, and you'll be cutting out a lot of additives in your food by not using that processed garlic, pre-chopped ones in the jar. Got one more clove here. You want this nice and garlicky. Asian takeout is very garlicky. It's one of the key ingredients. So then we are also going to add another Asian flavor, which is ginger. And ginger root comes with a skin on it. It almost looks like fingers or a hand of knobby, like long fingers. And it's got a brown peel on it. You can peel that off. This piece I had frozen in my freezer. After you peel it, you can freeze any you have left over. And you just want to grate about a tablespoon into the sauce. If you don't have fresh ginger, still make this recipe. It's going to be delicious. Add an extra clove of garlic. You could use ground ginger, like powdered ginger. I don't find it to have the flavor that fresh ginger does, but you could try it out, see what you think. If you're not accustomed to fresh ginger, then you won't be missing anything. But I'd like you to start incorporating fresh ginger into your diet. It's so good for you. So about a tablespoon of fresh ginger. And then the next ingredient I'm going to add is the heat. So what you could use is crushed red pepper, and you could put about a tablespoon or less. If you're not into spicy food, I would start with like a teaspoon. I really like spicy food, and your other option would be to use arbol chilies. And they come dried like this. And it's kind of fun because you just put them into the dish. And then when you're done cooking it, be sure to tell your guests not to eat these peppers, because they're going to flavor the gravy, but you don't. So you want to pick out big ones. Like I shouldn't have put this little one in there, because it might slip by and someone will get a bite of it and they're not going to be happy with you because they'll burn their mouth. So I'm going to put about 10 of these nice long ones in. These are more for, well, for one they're for heat, but they're for eye appeal. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Jerry and I really like spicy food. So you have to use your discretion on this. The easier route would be to put these flakes in, and then you don't have to worry about avoiding the peppers in there. But what I'm going to do is the other vegetable that I'm adding besides the green beans is a bell pepper. Now if you're using these chilies, you definitely want to use a yellow bell pepper or an orange bell pepper, not a red bell pepper, because you might get confused and think this is a bell pepper and bite into it. So I'm using a yellow one today. But first I'm going to start with my gravy before I cut that up, and I'm going to bring this to a boil. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is add about, say about a cup of water, 3/4 cups of water, that's fine. And to that I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. I'm using organic cornstarch here. And I'm going to mix this into the water to create dissolved cornstarch liquid. And this is what's going to thicken up our sauce and make it nice and shiny. Cornstarch is what they use in Asian cooking. That's what makes the food so shiny. And since we're not using any oil, which is awesome, this is going to take the place of that look of this oily noodle dish. So while I'm waiting for that to come up to a boil, we're not going to put the cornstarch in until that comes to a boil. I'm going to chop up my bell pepper. So when I cut a bell pepper, I just cut the outside off of the top and the bottom. Cut straight down the side. Hopefully you can see this. And this just makes it really easy. I always cut off the bottom, and that's for me. Cut this into long strips. resemble the green beans. We want to keep everything looking similar in this dish. This is a really easy dish because all you need is 1 bell pepper, 2 pounds of green beans, some vegetable broth, and you always have the other things in your cabinet like garlic and ginger in your freezer. I'm trying to come up with more limited ingredients recipes for you so that they're easier to make. You can stop at the store on the way home and pick up a bell pepper and some green beans, or if you're lucky enough to have a garden, you can use the green beans out of there. So this is starting to come to a boil. We want a full-on rolling boil. So we're just going to be patient. I'm going to put a lid on this to speed up the process of it boiling, just like our water for our noodles. Save some energy. I also have a few green onions here, and I'm going to use this to top the dish. So I'm going to actually slice up the white part of the onion and put it in this gravy now so it cooks a little bit. The green scallions, the ends, I'm going to use to top the dish, to garnish it. It's almost coming to a boil. So I know a lot of you have adopted the oil-free, sugar-free, nut-free, plant-based diet, and you're probably dying for some kind of Asian takeout or spicy, almost oily tasting food. And I came up with this recipe to satisfy that need for you. I hope that you find it to be just that. Starting to come to a boil. Now my water was in a water filter, so it's kind of cold. So we want to, it's going to take a little bit longer than if you had room temperature water with the cornstarch to bring it back up to a boil to thicken it. So I want to get this really boiling here. Okay, my gravy's coming to a nice boil, so my cornstarch is incorporated in my cup of water, and I'm going to whisk this into here. Like I said before, my water was kind of cold, so what we're waiting for is this to heat back up, come back to a boil while you're whisking, and all of a sudden it's going to turn into a really nice thick gravy. Super shiny, mimics the oil and takeout. And hopefully you can see here why I add the whole chilies. It's just so beautiful. If you add the chili peppers, the little individual flakes, you don't have to worry about pulling out the peppers or warning your guests. So it's starting to get nice and thick. Hopefully you can see here in the camera. Just let it keep coming back to a boil because we want to cook off the flavor of that cornstarch for 1 minute. And you can see it's not quite boiling yet, but it's getting there. It only takes about 1 to 2 minutes. Got a nice thick gravy here. And it's boiling. So I know that that cornstarch flavor is cooked off. Plus we're going to add the white parts of our green onions, because those would be kind of tough to bite into if we were garnishing the dish with those. And we're going to add our green beans first because they're going to take a little longer to cook up than the bell peppers. So we'll put those into the gravy. And we're going to put a lid on this. We're going to steam this up. We're going to get these green beans so they're nice and tender. Not like mushy, but nice and tender. Our water's boiling for our noodles. So I'm going to put those on. You saw it didn't even take the length of time to make that awesome Asian style gravy, spicy gravy, to boil the water for the noodles. noodles take about 6 to 7 minutes. I would say 6 minutes. Err on the shorter side when you're cooking rice noodles because we're going to toss them back in with this gravy with these green beans, and I don't want them to turn into mush. Rice noodles cook up a little differently if you're used to wheat noodles. And if you don't coat them with gravy right after you cook them, they will turn into a big lump of rice. Big lump of noodles stuck together. Okay, I've got a minute left on my noodles. It says they've been going for 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna test them. No, not quite. I'm gonna let them go for the last minute, but while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna check these green beans. They're starting to get tender. And I'm going to add my bell peppers. And if you wanted to add other vegetables to this, if you have bok choy, or you have some cabbage, or sliced up celery, any kind of Asian vegetable that you could think of, bean sprouts, pea pods, you can go ahead and add it. I just wanted to keep it simple to show you how good something so simple as green beans could be. You don't have to add the bell peppers. Add another ½ pound of green beans in here. It'll be delicious. Keep it simple, but fresh. So we'll put that lid back on there. Let those steam up. My noodles are done. I'm just going to drain these off. One thing I've learned with rice noodles, you definitely want to rinse them off. I've had better luck with them if you rinse them in cold water, because we're going to add them back to this dish and they're going to get heated back up again. But I don't want them to overcook while I'm waiting for my peppers to finish cooking. So just run cold water over them. This is looking excellent. It smells so good. Now what I would recommend that you do is taste this. It's super hot, so take 1 spoon, take your gravy out. This is how chefs do it. Pour it into a cold spoon and it will cool off faster so that you can taste your sauce and see if you need to add any more tamari or chili flakes or something if it's not hot enough for you. That's nice. It's actually, it's got a little bit of spice. I think you could probably put 20 of those arbol chilies in there if you wanted to, and it would still be a nice spicy heat. I'll probably end up adding a few chili flakes to top mine off because I love spicy food. So what I'm going to do is add my noodles to this dish. I'm going to turn the heat down. We're actually going to turn the heat off. I'm just going to stir up these noodles into the gravy with these green beans. This is one of my favorite dinners. It's super inexpensive to eat. My mushroom gravy, the process of making the gravy for this dish is very similar. And clean it up. chili's in there for presentation. You just want to warn your friends. Maybe you don't. It smells so good. Looks so good. So you're going to top this with some green onions. You could also toss your green onions straight into the pan here and toss them up together. Make it easier on yourself. And the other option would be to add some toasted sesame seeds. I'm just adding these for presentation. Maybe like a little sprinkle, it's not even a teaspoon of sesame seeds. I know I shy away from using any form of seeds or nuts. I'm not using sesame seed paste or a nut butter. I'm using just a few sprinkles of toasted sesame seeds for flavor and for texture and for the presentation. So I can't wait to try this. Oh, and you have to eat with chopsticks. It paces you. It slows you down a little bit. That's why I use them. And I'm really good at them. So thanks for watching, and oh, you're waiting. I'm sorry, Jerry's waiting. He's so hungry. It's so late and he's been waiting for me to finish up here. Thanks again for watching. And remember, optimum health will be owned by those who eat an abundance of plants. So eat your fruits and veggies. And check out protectivediet.com and look at all the great recipes that are available for you. And write to me if you have any questions or comments. I'd love to hear from you. Take care and best of health.